You got some delusions, your own conclusions, but I'm starting to figure you out. I don't think you're a bad guy, no, you're just a sad guy, and the devil's got you caught by the mouth. You kicked and I screamed, but you didn't hear a thing, 'cause you were caught in the height of your deepest, darkest vice. Well, you know I'm gone, and you know that I'm lying, but you keep back in the lie that you sell your friends now. Oh, 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 and I'm still crying. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Say, me convinced that I'm not innocent. Innocence, I guess you're alright. Just because it takes two don't mean that it ain't abuse, and it's hard to see the signs when your heart makes you blind. And oh, 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 oh. Oh, and I'm still crying. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm still crying. Oh, 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 oh. My name is Brightman, and I grew up in mostly Missouri and spent a lot of time when I was a kid in Kentucky with my grandmother as well. When I was 18, I moved to Montana, and I had gotten a full ride scholarship to Rocky Mountain College. And, it was before Montana was like the trendy place to be, and I really just genuinely wanted to be where there were more animals than people. And for a long time that worked out for me, I felt, before I moved to Paradise Valley. But I mean, I love being in Paradise Valley too, and being there has really helped me build a community that I can, feel safe around to like play vulnerable songs. Because a lot of my songs, I really respect a lot of songwriters. In the last couple of years, I've really been trying to dig into like how other people write and like what makes them tick. And I really admire the people that use that songwriting muscle and work at it really hard, because I feel like although I have not been lucky in some experiences in my life, like everyone goes through, I've been really lucky in being able to put those experiences into songs and words that, help me and make honest songs. Not because, like, I guess they have to be honest songs. Like, I'm trying to get more into, like, the storytelling stuff, too, with, like, the murder ballads. But it's just something I've thought about a lot lately, and, thinking about, like, where I get my inspiration and, like, how I write. It's a lot of just stuff that's really hard to get out otherwise. And when I was 16, I remember, learning my first couple of chords, like laying on my bed, and I had a pretty rough upbringing. It was pretty chaotic and painful, and I remember just like crying and like playing my guitar, as a teenage girl, and not really understanding, a lot of things that go on in the world, and just getting out like my first lines. And I'll never forget that moment, because it just felt like this like self-validation. Like sometimes you have to get things out, and you like need to hear from other people that like you're crazy or you're not crazy or something. And there's something about songwriting that it just gives me like the validation of how I feel without needing anyone else. And a really cool perk of it is that other people can relate to it and enjoy it, to a different degree, and maybe use it to help them on good and bad days. And so it's really this like wild, full circle, beautiful thing that I never thought, I would be standing here in Red Lodge, like recording my songs with you guys. And it's just also cool and full circle, because like these are the hills that I like became the person that I am in, outside of, the park and the Absarokas. And it's like the most like magical feeling. It's like when people say that they've like found like a purpose in life, I don't always know. I've never really known what that means, but there are certain nights in front of certain crowds and like just a certain amount of all of the good things happening that just, it's like nothing else. And then when you're playing your own songs and people are reciprocating and all those magical things are happening to your own songs, that is like a whole nother level of holy shit. Like, like even though it's like, the biggest crowd I've ever played to is probably like 1,200 people, which to most like professional musicians, that's nothing. But I mean, even that crowd, like to have people like, feel the way they do about your music, and to, when you create music, there's so many things you go through like internally. And so when you put it out there and you like harden it in the world, like for everyone to see, there's nothing better than that like genuine feedback.
Swallowed by loneliness, weighed down by emptiness. I don't know which way to turn. No matter the road, I still feel low, like my destination's already sown. Since I was a girl, a wicked world I've roamed, confused by love, fueled by hate. I try to unlearn, but for certain I yearn for the things that keep me insane. So I talk to my friends, I talk to a therapist, I talk to a guy that I don't think exists. Out of fear and confusion, mind full of ruin, and a heart that beats to be broken. Some think that I'm mean, and I know it might seem like lately I'm fueled by spite and stain. I don't mean to complain, it's just that all the pain keeps me up, it keeps me from sleeping. So I don't sleep, and I don't eat, and my brain, it just rots away, along with the grief and the weed that isn't cheap. Memories that make me feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm dying. I do my best, but it does not last. Like a ship in the eye of a storm, I get caught in the rain, I can't swim to the bay. Like the great fish, it swallows me whole. So I'll talk to my friends, I'll talk to a therapist, I'll talk to a guy that I don't think exists. Had a fear and confusion, mind full of ruin, and a heart that beats to be broken. Hey, a heart that beats to be broken.
I love my band. I've had, as bands go, especially around, small town Montana, I've had a lot of members around here play in my band. So, there's lots of guitar players, a couple drummers, lots of bass players. But right now I have, 3 solid dudes who fucking rock. And I thought sharing my songs with people was cool. And then when you share your songs with other musicians who have this way of just morphing these songs into something like ethereal almost. I mean, there's nothing like having a good band. And I always try to brag as much as I can about my band. Like, even when you ask me, I'm like, oh yeah, I love my band. Like, I have this old school guitar player, Kevin Toll, who, he knows every song since 1975, which I love. And my drummer is so passionate. His name's Travis Johnston, and he's a badass fucking drummer. He used to be in a metal band, which is great for me because although I play country, I really like to dig in. And so he was the best contribution to my band I've ever had. And then I recently met Ethan Damaris, or I don't even know his last name. Well, yeah, I mean, I do, but I don't know how to say it. But Ethan from Laney Lou and the Bird Dogs just joined our band, and we're just really excited to have this 4-piece group of people who really care about music. My band and I are going to be recording a full-length album this summer, and so we're going to start chipping away at it and doing all the planning. We started doing kind of the planning and figuring out what songs we want to do and where we're going to do it. And, there's so much that goes into an album. It's the songwriting at times feels like a very small part of it when you're thinking about all the busy work you have to do. So I'm simultaneously really excited because I get to share songs that I've been playing for years, that I have friends and strangers that say that those songs are stuck in their heads. It'll be really cool to put it out there into the abyss. Montana Ain't for Lovers is a little bit of an autobiography, I guess. It talks about my dad, who I lost when I was a young kid. And it's something that I've like kind of been working through more the older I am. And there's a verse in that song that says, what does it say? It's, Daddy died when she was younger. Mommy cried, but not for too much longer. She knew then this day would come. It'd be his last, and he left 2 sons. And that's a reference to my mom and my dad and my 2 brothers that he left behind. And that my mom, you know, the conditions which my dad died were very strange. You know, he was a heroin addict and an alcoholic and, you know, all those things. But he also, you know, was a good person and was just really sick. And my mom just knew that that day would come. And so that's kind of where that verse comes from. And it just is like kind of like a hat tilt to my dad and my brothers, because, you know, it's not just me that he left. He left us all. So,
I'm sorry for
yeah.
your loss.
I've never talked about it, actually. I usually don't talk about, like, my songs or where they come from. So it's like, yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, she rode through the hills with on gold and thrills. The night was cold. Yeah, stood still. His lips turned blue. Her look sad, killed. Daddy died when she was younger. Her mommy cried, and I thought too much longer. She knew that his days would come, would be his last. He left 2 songs. She grew up, she grew older, a little bit fucked up, just a little bit bolder. She moved west, she met a man she thought that she could trust. She thought would understand, but Montana ain't for lovers anymore. No, it's too hard, it's too hard, and now northern wind hands on and on, ever to grow hell, and it's too cold. She buried him beneath the pines, covered up his bones, covered up his lies. And when they asked where he had gone, she just sang along. She sang Montana ain't for lovers anymore. No, it's too cold, it's too cold in that northern penthouse. I don't know ever to grow old, and it's too cold, it's too cold. I said Montana ain't for lovers anymore. No, it's too cold, it's too cold, it's too